You're in the Business Insurance Zone with me, Steve Savant, National Insurance columnist and financial color commentator. This week on The Biz, our monthly update series for December 2012. And on today's show, our life insurance underwriting update with special guest Jessica Lopez, Impaired risk expert.
When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Well, welcome everyone to the Business Insurance Zone. I'm your host, Steve Savant, and we're broadcasting live to a nationwide audience of financial professionals right here in Fountain Hills, Arizona, home of America's largest fountain. And with me today, Impaired risk goddess herself, all that is substandard, especially now, Jessica Lopez. Hey, Jessie.
Hey, Steve. Great to be here.
Well, you know, yesterday we were on our show, we're talking about AG 38 and the impact, and we're trying to push through GUL, some term, depending upon where you're coming from, under the underwriting guise of substandard season. And I'm telling you, we're sitting here today, Thursday, with 1 day to go. So somebody says, Steve, if I got the case in, listen, if you got the case in and I got a full file, I can still probably play. Right. I mean, we're stretching it as it is. I'm telling you, the elasticity of underwriting protocols, we try to make carriers kind of dance, kind of stretch their procedures. We're doing the best we can, but really pretty much I need this by this weekend.
Exactly.
I mean, I can't keep pushing it off. So if you got a great case, you want great underwriting right now, we're going to talk about some of that right now. You really need to get it in here. And I mean, I need a full file. So not just the app, but if you can get your client to collect all the data on the APS and everything else, we could probably still pull it off.
Absolutely. We're here to absolutely help push that through underwriting for you so that you can get the best offer in the industry for your client.
Well, what's on our agenda? I mean, we're really talking about a lot of things today. I want to touch it up because we're going to be closing. This is our last show for the year in regards to substandard underwriting and impairments.
Yes, so it's important for us to recap on what you need to know so that you can get as many cases as you can in, and again, to get the best offer for your client. So there's a couple things that I wanted to touch on here today, Steve, and just wanted to go back and forth with you a little bit. So pick your brain so that you can help refresh our audience's memory as to why in the world these items are important. Number one being, why in the world would we use premium tolerance tests?
Well, I just want to, at the get-go, find out if this case has any chance of really going forward, even if we collect all the medical data. Here's our problem. I usually can tell by what I hear on a cursory description of whatever the impairment is. I pretty much know, okay, the best we're probably going to get is this rating from this carrier on this product. If the person who's going to write the check, the client, can't write a check on my best scenario, why am I going forward?
Exactly.
So
waste
when
of
I do
everybody's time.
It is, and I mean about a third of everything we touch should have never seen the light of day simply on the basis that the premium was just too great for the client to write.
Exactly.
So I always want to, I want to see the cases, but when I know going in that this is going to be the best scenario and you can't write a check for it, we might as well just stop the case right there.
Great point, great point. Now, when is the end of your drop dead date?
Well, the word drop dead, depending upon the carrier, I'm going to say again, if I could stretch an app with a nice executive summary, completely done, not by me, by somebody else, and all the APS records and everything in by this weekend. I really think anything beyond that, you know, that doesn't mean you wouldn't get the treatment, the end of the year treatment, you're just not going to get this placed.
Exactly.
So if you need placement for MDRT, if you need placement for your NAFA credits, all those kind of things, I don't see that happening.
Right.
But if you're still looking for a great product, GUL under the AG 38, the old cheaper price tag, and you're looking for great underwriting, which is happening right now, and we're going to get into that spectacular issue, I still think that's doable.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
It is.
So you'll get that, I just can't place it.
Right. Now, we can also help you with your executive summaries, so keep that in mind. Give us everything you've got. We're going to go through and help you with the packaging to the carrier.
Yeah, when I meant I'm not going to write it, I meant me. Jessie loves this. Her second love is writing. She just wants to write. She wants to be a novelist. And think about this. She's writing sagas about people's urine blood. Unbelievable.
It's exciting stuff.
It's
what
exciting
can I say?
stuff.
Almost exciting as Excel spreadsheets.
Well, that's why you're the princess of impaired risk.
All right. Now, in terms of no partials, full files, I just want to reiterate that again. I think this one area here is where producers have a difficult time determining what in the world to send in, okay? So give us a call. We'll tell you what we need. We have our own HIPAA, our own trial application that you can fill out if it's a situation that we need to shop ahead of time. Again, though, if we have an idea and we can give you that idea ahead of time of where to go in terms of the carrier, we can just go in and get that full, completely filled out application in now. Now, who are the carrier table shaving companies that you would recommend, Steve?
Well, here's what happens every time we hit Halloween, and we did again this year. we always have a couple people that emerge. Everybody, there's good players in table shaving. I mean, there is. And I'm going to say out of the 2 dozen that say they do it, there might be really 10 that I like. But all of a sudden, somewhere around November, we see people emerge as players. And table shaving right now, Lincoln National is just killing it.
Yeah.
And for the older ages, I mean age 75, which generally we don't get past 70 on table shaving. I'm looking at United of Omaha. Shocking. And to me, that kind of shocked me.
Absolutely. They've all really come to play and help us out. And Lincoln National is one of my personal favorites, just with some of the offers that have come back.
By the way, they've been around on table shaving. They're one of the first carriers to bring this to the table. I think they got this down to an underwriting art form.
Absolutely. Now, as far as impaired risk carriers who emerge for a table D or higher, basically looking at scenarios of personal lifestyle credit and things of that nature, who would you recommend, Steve?
Well, once you get past where I can't shave it, and I'm going to be table D or higher, I'm looking at some of the heavyweights that have been around for a long time that play in this area. Now, Hancock right now and AG have the capacity, they have the underwriting. Right now they have product giveaways. I mean, I'll get to that in a second on Hancock. And also AXA, with the exception of diabetes. I wouldn't throw AXA in there on the diabetic issue. But these 3 players, when you get into people that you have to underwrite, especially in second to die, where the first person could be table D, table F, you know, it could be higher.
Right.
Because the second person, usually the female, is a lot better health. You're going to see these 3 or 4 players. They got the capacity, they got the size, and they know how to underwrite. It's different underwriting from table C on down on table shave and lifestyle credits versus you're doing full-blown, what I call true impaired risk case.
Absolutely. Great point, Steve.
Now, when we get back, I want to also just remember, on my lifestyle credit, my pick right now is Lincoln Benefit Life. I mean, they reconfigured the way they do their lifestyle credits, and right now, I'm stacking the deck with these guys, especially in the preferred carrier, which I'll talk about when we come back from the break. All this, how much? Well, we got about 24, 48 hours left if you want to play GUL and an impaired risk. We come back from the break, we're going to continue with our GUL market, talk a little bit about some of Jessie's spreadsheets and some of the grids she's going to put out. And don't forget to enroll in IULUniversity.com for the best training, education, sales support when it comes to life insurance.
You're listening to the insurance industry's #1 resource for products, planning ideas, carrier information, and interviews you can use. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Welcome to the Brokers Alliance Auction House. I'm Jessica Lopez, and that's Steve Savant. What are you doing?
I'm practicing my auctioneer skills for our carrier bidding process for our producers' substandard cases.
Steve means that we're packaging our substandard cases for underwriters with specific carriers that are known to specialize in certain health impairments.
There are really only a handful of competitive carriers in each category, and we've identified who they are.
It's all about securing the best possible underwriting offer by packaging your substandard case with the right carriers.
So let the bidding begin. Well, welcome back to the Business Insurance Zone. I'm Steve Savant with Jessica Lopez. And remember, you can order today's giveaways at BrokersAlliance.com. And that giveaway, we're still doing the Impaired Risk Field Guide. If you haven't seen this, you need to get it out. It's out on our website. It's also out all over the web. We have it all distributed. And the reason I want you to look at this is because this is what it is today. Now remember, that guide is going to somewhat deteriorate when we hit the first of the year, because whatever giveaways, whatever we think we're seeing today, everybody starts to tighten up at the first of the year. Right now, it's impaired risk and substandard season, and only for a couple more days if you want to try to get it in on this side of the year. And remember, before moving forward with anything we ever talk about, especially taxes and so forth, always talk to your tax advisor and your broker-dealer compliance officer. We should be golden on that because we're not addressing any of that today. We're going to address the GUL market. Yesterday, we talked about AG38, the impact on all the carriers. We gave you about a dozen. We sent you out. If you ordered it, you got all the carriers that we talked about and what their protocols are. We're still looking, though, at the impaired risk for GUL for the next couple of days. If you still think you can get it in, this is the time to do it.
Absolutely.
So, but before I get into that, I brought up Lincoln Benefit, right?
Yes, you were touching on impaired risk and table shaving, the credit programs and things of that nature. But one thing that's really important for everybody to remember is we're not only looking at impaired risk, highly rated cases. We're looking at situations where perhaps it's a standard. Maybe we can get a preferred or preferred plus in various situations. So I wanted to pick your brain a little bit, Steve, in terms of who you felt the best preferred non-smoker carriers are.
Well, strictly from a risk point of view, a carrier is probably going to be much more benevolent to go from standard to standard plus up into the preferred rankings, or from a normal preferred non-smoker all the way up to maybe super preferred, and all those in the non-smoking area. It's probably cheaper for them to buy it and the risk is less. So I really like that. And one of the carriers, again, I'm going to bring up Lincoln Benefit Life because of their lifestyle credits.
Yes.
Those lifestyle credits are making it worthwhile to look at it. So if you're sitting there saying, I only got a preferred non-smoker, you may be able to go up the food chain here and get a better category simply because their credits on an underwriting balance sheet are really going to look well. I mean, they all have their normal protocols and where they're placing their different echelons or different health categories. But during the impaired risk season, that kind of gets set aside. I'm not saying for Lincoln Benefit, just overall, the global view is that most carriers are a little more benevolent, a little more looser in the way they look at their protocols. Yes. And I think LBL is a huge play if you have people that are standard or above and you're trying to get into the higher areas of preferred.
Absolutely. Now, another area that we want to touch on are honorable mentions for a few of our carriers. There are 3 carriers that come to mind to me that stand out in regards to retention. So in terms of retention, who would you say would be the biggest player?
Well, especially in substandard. I mean, there's some big companies here, billion big companies. But I really like MetLife, and here's why. Their product is pretty much in the game on the term and okay on the GUL, but I'm going to get retention, and that means I'm going to get a little more underwriting flexibility. I don't have to be beholden to my automatic reinsurance pools.
Right.
I'm not sending this out to facultative. They have a very, very big size retention. I mean, everybody knows their name too. If you're looking for a big corporation, they want to see a big, strong company. They're the biggest company in the world, right? When I'm looking for retention and I'm looking for underwriting, even though their product may be a little bit not edgy, not a top 5, but after their underwriting within their own retention, so I've been very surprised that they'll actually beat other companies whose products are actually less.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Very helpful. Now, another thing I wanted to touch on is build. I have to say, and in working with our case management department, we get together, we take a look at the cases that have come in, why they're rated differently than what the agent originally thought. They weren't preferred, they end up being standard or a substandard case. And you and I were talking before the show in regards to Prudential Life and how flexible they are and how unique their underwriting profile is. And they actually have some pretty unique tools that are producer friendly to help gauge the build situation, prescription situations, and so forth. So
yeah, I'm really surprised. Prudential now has owned the heavyweight market for a long time, and we're sitting here in December, and I got to tell you, yours truly has been chowing down on the holiday food. I'm probably going to be table 2 by the time we're done with the end of the month. But my issue with them is I've checked this out time and again, where I plug in. We have an actual protocol for this. You plug in the height, the weight, the gender, and I'm talking about just the weight issues. There could be other impairments here that I have to factor in, but let's just say I'm talking about weight only.
Right.
Prudential is head above everybody else. I've just seen this time and again. I'll put in a 5'10", 340. I'll say who will play, and only they show up.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like I have to get down about 30 to 40 pounds before another carrier enters the market. And the only reason I bring this up is because if it's truly only weight, right now I have to say you better go to the Rock because Prudential owns that piece of the business right now. Now I know that a couple other carriers want to play in this space, and I don't know what Prudential knows and other carriers don't, but right now they own that space, and so if you got a heavyweight client, that's the way to go.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now another carrier that comes to mind is John Hancock. They have a couple of very unique things that they're doing right now. One would be their incentive to quit smoking plan on their permanent products. The nice thing about this is that they seem to have come to the understanding that, look, sometimes somebody's quit 6 months ago, maybe it's been a year, maybe they had a cigarette a month ago, but they're planning to quit, all right? So what John Hancock does is give them the benefit of the doubt. Non-smoker, get that non-smoker rate for 3 years, give them 3 years to quit. If you go back and do the exam and you're nicotine-free, then you keep on with the non-smoker rates. If not, so you continued smoking or you started smoking again, then your client would go to the smoker rates.
Everyone's looking for a reason to stop their addictions. This is a big one. I mean, just think about it. Hancock is giving away a non-smoker rate for people that are still smoking. I mean, I guess I'm wearing the patch while I'm doing this. I'm just thinking it's amazing because they're probably looking at the mortality tables. Are those really impacting? And one last thing about Hancock. Till the end of the year, they're still doing their 10% roll-off in their product in celebration of their 150th anniversary. These guys are actually playing their huge impaired risk. They're doing the non-smoker for smokers, and now they're doing a 10% premium roll-off. They should be players all the way down to the end of the year. Remember, you can watch our show all this week about all our updates just by going out to our on-demand section right at www.brokersalliance.com. Well, that's the Buzz on the Biz for today. Get in the zone, the business insurance zone.
The Biz is brought to you by Brokers Alliance, a national leader in insurance products, support services, and educational workshops. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.